Right, and family, stoner, friends and family, I bring greetings to una once more. It's now una humble servants, it's now una broadcaster, una all in all, on the top billing show on social media, then and now, where you can find quality. So today, again, once more, Fambulem, I bring una come peace and love. I bring una peace and love, Fambulem. This is a very special broadcast on a very special day today, the 11th of October. The 11th of October, 2020. The time we started the broadcast from is 9:30. Of course, we got 8 minutes past the time. We get for play music for warm up the floor. But it's a very special broadcast. So at the big family, let me share this audio, yeah? I mean this video, please. Let me make sure we share this video. They get back blast, and just bear with me while I try to kill that sound off. We don't need that sound. We don't need it, certainly. Yes, I found the problem. Just a quick clarification. A lot of people in the field say, thank you, Bengali. Thank you, everyone. I mean, you know, yeah, high spirits this evening, this morning, this afternoon, to different people. Just a quick clarification. I get many calls today and messages because people think say the man who has seen at the back layer, former president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Dr. Ernest Koroma, will have been a guest on this show. Unfortunately, this is not the case. And I know that or that kind of thought process, they come out from the fact based on the flyer we are released. The flyer we are released make people then for think say Dr. Ernest Koroma for appear on this show. No, Dr. Ernest Koroma, they appear on this show tonight. It's a monologue based on them, and I can see the question: a patriot or a villain? Hopefully, one day we will get Dr. Ernest Koroma himself that he speak to social media, because social media is the media of our time. Okay, so not to Dr. Koroma on the program today. Just clarification. This now a humble presenter, Prince Emil Koma de Cantona today, the 11th of October 2020, on a very special show. So at the big una family, una let we share this because all man need for be a part and parcel of the program. Having said this, family, we need to go straight into the show. So we ask the question: is Dr. Ernest Koroma a patriot or a villain? Just a few years ago, not too long ago, 2 or 3 years ago, nobody, you know, yeah, especially on a public level, on a public platform level, will be contemplating on asking this question. Did you hear me? I want to listen keenly, because it's not part of the conversation here tonight. I want to listen keenly. Nobody will be asking that question as opposed to whether he is a villain or a patriot. Even if the question may exist, now much more in the background. This again just to show the power where they begin for Ernest, now social media and the rest of it. Pato, good evening, bro. How you do? Thanks for tuning in. Brother Kanu, Mohammed, Angela Aminata, Sori Kama, this is my sister. I know they call her name for 3 years of this broadcast now, and I love this sister. She's been an ardent supporter. Sister Aisha Usman, Theresa, Sorimara. Oh, the background is safe. Now I can fire from all cylinder. Anyway, on a more serious note, you know, times are so serious, things are so serious that sometimes, you know, we need for water down. Let's be honest, we need for water down, because the tension at times, especially just this gone Thursday, you can actually slice them with a knife. Hello, Sister Francis. I mean, Brother Francis Koroma, welcome. Yeah, thank you very much, SS. So here we go. Okay, very, very important. And I asked the question whether former President Dr. Ernest Koroma is a villain or is a patriot. And today from this broadcast, I want to talk on 2 or 3 key things so that we go do the analysis for ourselves. And I want to address Fambulem Una directly. Una will watch now, the one that we get for watch later. And this also is addressed to the frenemies. Frenemies is a coinage of friends and enemies alike. So 2 things that we can do now in the public domain with we leaders them. We sometimes they're not really nice, but we can judge we leaders them from their vices other than their virtues. And that include, even though this show is dedicated to the former president Ernest Koroma, but it also they send a message out there to other leaders them both in the past and the present. Because when you judge one on the vices today, and somebody they back that momentum day or that fact day, then remember that the same basis will be applicable to you in the future. So the things then when you're supposed to be judged, you're not being judged by it, either one out of malice, did you hear me? Out of malice, out of envy, out of jealousy, instead of you to talk about the virtues, the moral compass of a man. Not in the sense in the way you want to look at. Hence why I say I want to talk about these 2 things today and much more. You know, Fambulem, let we understand waiting na we vices if we can begin with, and let we talk about virtues. Okay? So when we talk about vices or the vice of a man, which we all get, and this is the thing, we all get with negative virtues. We all get negative vices. And the vices are the negative side of life. Because when you talk about the vice of a person, you talk about that person in wicked, how wicked that person they can be. Okay? How immoral that person they can be. Now imagine they attribute such a word to somebody of a kind of a stature. And then they say they are immune to this kind of criticism. But waiting I want for let we bear in mind is there are other sides. So when you go attribute vice instead of virtue to a person, of eminence, of stature on a national platform or international platform, just for demeanor and forget, waiting in accomplishments that are fine, really, really unfair. And I know say by we standard, it is unfair. And I know they say in no sense, shape, or form that we cannot talk about the vices of we leader them. Of course we should. But remember, Fambule, what we do, we compare these vices to virtues. And some of us, they use them deliberately just for demean a man. That's just for demean a man of stature. Just for demean a man who not too long ago brought us development. For a man who not too long ago was on top of things in the country and was doing things, which, yes, some were not favorable while others were. Now you will be saying, you see how he talk there. It definitely is backing the man. I make a ask you, please clean the wax off your ears. I don't mean I'm in a rude way or in a disrespectful way. I just say, in fact, from a biblical perspective, get the wax off. Get the speck off the eyes. Let we listen and let we see. Dr. Ernest Koroma, I give some of your achievement them because we tend to forget. Okay? We tend to forget. And before I go to the achievement them, of course, I talk about vices. We all get vices. We all get skeleton in another closet. But then skeleton then they will get another closet or then vices then they. If the greater good will don't do, we try for use the vices. And in this case, it is political. So we hear more about the vices than of the virtues, which make I want to remind Fambulen today that these vices the way we hear, but yes, let we listen. Yes, we get a right for question with leadership, which we always do on this platform. But at the same time, we want to talk about things of relevance, things which are pertinent to the matters of state, which can bring value to state. That's what we want to talk about. So therefore, we look at virtues. When you talk about virtues, remember, if vice now the immoral side of you, the negative side of you, then virtue, in a different sense, is the opposite of vice. So you want to talk about the moral upwardness, the outstanding performance, the righteousness of one's virtue in life, how one they conduct himself, moral excellence, if you like. It also goes into different kind virtues than where you can compare. You know, some people again natural virtues, some people then are theological virtue, and many more. I've not come here to sing the praises of Ernest by Koroma, but other than just to say nothing but the truth, so help me God. And that's what I'm doing here tonight. So I talk about vices and virtues. So other than we talk about the vices, we need for to talk about the virtue. Remember that great philosopher, that Scottish economist called Adam Smith, a great philosopher, a great economist who is known as the father of modern day economics. We write a book called The Theory of Moral Sentiment. How many of you have read it? If you haven't, Famulem, for let we step up with game, we need for the acquaint ourselves with the work of them philosopher then yeah. We really need to. Part of the thing back where I get for talk tonight. So that 1776 philosopher, a Scottish philosopher, okay, it says something we're very critical to this particular broadcast here tonight, because once you talk about moral excellence, once you talk about the virtues of a man, once you talk about not the vices but the virtues, then Adam Smith, that Scottish philosopher and great economist of the 18th century, stands out. Because for one of the most important books, this man said, and I repeat, this man said, prudence, justice, and benevolence then come in the particular order in which I read them. Each one of them named them, they will give you, which are prudence, which are justice, and which are benevolence, then come in that order there. And the order when they come by, every one of them is essential to the other. Now make them come in that order there. So if you get prudence, you will get justice. If you get justice, you will get benevolence. Fambulem, I want to factor this in the life and times of Ernest by Koroma in 10 to 11 years where he served the country. No man is perfect. Let's not mistaken. And let us not be used by others, simply because they want to get onto others. If the fight is a normal fight, if the fight is a natural fight, in which the people of the country, the people of Sierra Leone needs to benefit, then that fight must go on unabated. Every one of us, because I don't know who that in the right mind not go support the fight against corruption. Certainly I do. And I've made this public on many, many occasions. But today, as we speak on virtues and vices, and they quote some philosopher them, I want to let we think deep because it's more philosophical. And once we talk about philosophy, and they ask una for go into una moral compass and think and reflect that not too long ago, this was it. This is why today, while I do this broadcast, I also want to bring to Fambul and their attention many things. In other words, development, we Canada country. Development which are tangible, physical. We can see them, we can feel them, and this is what we are riding upon today. I know many times people always they focus on roads, good enough. But even the enemies of progress, they condemn the roads. They say the roads are cosmetic, but yet the roads are there. Some of them maybe Portolong begin to commodity, but the last time I was there, I saw those roads. Those roads were modern roads. And then I want to talk about not only in the context of roads, because the developments were many. I have said this before, and I don't make clip on this before, in which I say, now that country, from independence 1961, and una can see, you see me white there, I don't begin common out. So I am from that school. I'm from that school of thought. Since 1961, I bring up to Pakaba and stop and day. Because if we agree, say, development is not an event, but it is rather a process, then we get to acknowledge the past for let we live proper in the now, so that inside the now, we go able for forge path similarly that was formed in the then, for let we go into the future. Now, this is deep, and I'm no pastor, but what I'm saying is kind of deep. So we focus with attention on roads. which is very, very good because in we lifetime, and like I may say, I stopped the development process to Pakaba. What about for say is, from the inception of that country, they in independence, yeah? Shaka Sir Milton Magai, Sir Albert Magai, then litany of military coups the way we get. And then Pakaba after the war. We bring Boku infrastructural development, but more in a design form. The structures were just there, waiting. So when another man ascend to power, he recognized the power before him, and he take them powers, then they enhance them. And in fact, he became an understudy for a while from a man who understood the office. I'm not talking about, you have been 3 months in the office before you didn't understand the very chair where you sit on, you had to leave. That's not experience at all. That is not, because the art of government is so intricate that it takes a while, and it's not a single man. It's a network of departments of people. So I have been there before. I have heard this before. It doesn't work like that. Family, on a lot shape this video. I notice that we are about 90 something that you watch now. Can we multiply this by 2? If everybody can divide this, Shibam, then obviously the audience, they grow larger. So family, here is the thing. So like I say, we always focus on roads. Now make, like I say, I did not do before, I did do them again for outline the accomplishments of the manual Unasi behind me. He cannot be erased from history. If you are hell-bent on maligning and smearing him just for the sake of smearing, because we can see that it's gone just too far. We cannot compromise the fabric of the nation, the pillars of the nation, the foundations of the nation, just because for personal, political gains. Because sure enough, in politics, there are compromises. There are compromises. There should be a status of forces agreement, some status of understanding. We can't just be pushed. We are not Americans. We need to take time. We can say more. We come up from the mold of the people and we colonize who happen to be the British. We can take them time. When they want to do something, they can we self get parable say, take them, kill Angela, you will see in God. This is the situation. And we come back to Pakaba, I say Apulande, but the word here is from independence to Pakaba. The achievements of Ernest by Koroma under the All People's Congress is greater than all previous governments put together before the SLPP of Pakaba. I repeat, maybe you didn't hear me well. And what I say here, I stand by them. They are facts. They are well researched. And the relevant, documents are lying down in the archives. Make use of that. This is no joke. Some of you might not know because the sycophancy eboku, mediocre eboku, ide on the rise. So we understand. But for goodness sake, when we talk facts, because these facts will set us free, that this particular government of the erstwhile APC under Ernest by Koroma make more development than all the governments put together before the SLPP of Pakaba. So when we talk about roads, it's not only roads, and I will talk about that shortly. But the idea that development is not something for joke with, is something where we need for embrace and we need for acknowledge. And when we fail for acknowledge the tendency for failure is high up there. And when you not ever get something, here for really attack, then it begin for boil down to the little way they hold, just like a drowning man go hold on to a thread. These are just facts. Now let me go to more facts. Family, for those of you who don't know, under the APC government, okay, the road network, which I talked about earlier on, where I say a kind of tangible, a kind of physical, it provides easy access, and you get for look back, you get for reflect. Prior to the now, and they talk about it now not too long ago, but prior to that same day, waiting may exist in terms of infrastructure, in terms of road network, in terms of with health facilities, in terms of with energy facilities. This is what I want you to take note of tonight. And I'm not doing this because I'm not used to distractions or for divert. But I like for let we say fact, and I like for let the people reflect. Because you see, in the nature of politics, we, the subjects, are easily manipulated. We, the subjects, are easily used. And this is so true of all times, not only now. So it was then, so it is now, so shall it be until we become socially conscious. And the business of people like us is to put that information out there, make sure that we become socially conscious. Don't just take it line, hook, and sinker, but listen keenly. In fact, some people will have made up their minds that here he goes again. This is what he's saying. Whereas you need to take a step back and listen, because all that I'm saying here is fact. Having said the development under the erstwhile APC government was massive like never before seen in the history of that country, I equally want to acknowledge that corruption was very, very high. Massive corruption, embezzlement of state funds. It takes part, beaucoup. We know this. But sometimes you compare the two evils and then you get to take the lesser of the two evils. And I'm not saying that people who embezzle government money, the people's money, I should call it, must not stand or face account or give judgment for their term in service. I'm not saying that at all, and nobody not misconstrue what I'm saying here. But I just noticed that it's so much ongoing and we are all just being used by politicians, which is typical of them, that we are at each other's throat as a nation instead of us, here binding together love and unity, as the Constitution say, as the coat of arms say. Yet we are at loggerheads. Never like this before, and we are walking slowly into an abyss. I can say that. We are going over a cliff, and there are people leading us to the slaughterhouse, and here we go. This is unfair to the people. So like I say, beaucoup people don't know the development or those people who want for influence they make we for understand like the road network not significant, not important, and are cosmetic. But let's talk about the developments then in black and white. Let's talk about it. So the road network, what they talk about, easy access, we give you easy access. We connect, we feed our roads them. We make people able for pool plants, plazas, upline, and we can down. And if we understand what in and they mean, how we ease the economic burden, okay? Because what we're not able to do up till now, I think one big brother and I articulate this, is how to monetize them program then they. So if you can get a road where you spend an hour for go bring something, and you don't cut that hour day down by 10 times the number of times where you for go and come, then you need to find a way on how to monetize them so that it reflects the actual benefit of the road. But let me not go deep into that. Let me just talk about the achievement and accomplishment of a man called Dr. Ernest by Koroma and his All People's Congress. So, Fambulem, if you not be ever know, here is it. Over 1,500 miles of completed roads. I repeat, over 1,500 miles of road network in the country. And this include trunk and city road, and I will tell you now outside the roads they are crisscross shortly. I just want for let sinking, and they can repeat for effect. So if you not be known here this, you are here now, and you imagine the figure 1,500 miles of road, 1,500 miles of road, crisscrossing not one part of the country, crisscrossing the entire country. And I will tell you exactly where these roads are shortly. Fambulem, while I say this, it clearly sounds to others that, well, this is one-party stuff. This is one-party talk. Well, yes, it does sound like one-party talk, one-party stuff. But the stuff that I'm talking about, it's not only been beneficial to this one party, you get a catch. It's not only beneficial to this one party, it's beneficial to an entire nation of people made up or comprising 7.5 million, if not more. These are the accomplishments of a government, and another government come. They're not going to do things personally for themselves or just for their own people, but rather for an entire nation. So like I say, 1,500 miles of road crisscrossing the entire country. And this includes trunk and township roads. Fambulem, Putloko, Lunge Road, Macho, Kenema, I repeat, Kenema, Pendembu, I repeat, Pendembu, Makeni, Kabala, and then the Makeni Kamakwe Road, and then Bo. Fambulem Nayaimi, la repeat once more. The team will provide easy access for roads, including trunk roads, the completion, and they talk about completed roads. And then they talk about the Alpha Pro demo because there were roads that were not completed, because oftentimes this is what we can conflict. And there are people deliberately where they conflate their issues for help confuse those of us, the layman them. But these were just named are actually completed roads, 1,500 miles of completed roads. And that includes trunk and city and township roads, Potloko, Matu, Pendembu, Makeni, Kenema, Lonsa, and Pokehun. Yeah? Sorry, Makeni, Kamakwe, and Bo. Fabule, I'll tell you about water project. We can often complain about water, and rightfully so. But when we complain about them, we can largely focus on Freetown, because of course, not the capital. And we forget for no say, Freetown, the facility they are overwhelmed. Everything has been exhausted in Freetown, Fambule. Up to a point when I up the mountain and risky place with all your issues about land space where people go occupy when they're not even supposed to occupy because of danger to their own very self. So government's responsibility. So I just want to talk about how Freetown done so full up that it's busting at the seams, and it's just a tragedy waiting to happen. And we've seen tragedies happen a couple of times, and those will not be the last. There will be more. There will be more grieving as a consequence of we actions. So this Freetown is busting at the seams. So anything where you want to do there is just going to be extremely, extremely difficult. Whether not the sewage system, whether not the water system, whether not the electricity grid, everything is going to be difficult. That's why we need a new city. That's why I supported the airport, the Mamama airport, because that would have been the beginning of a new city. But that's a problem for another day. We'll talk about them another day. So, Fambule, I hope say we follow this, because what I'm saying here is just nothing but the facts. Challenge anyone. The records are there. And I will come to that, waiting we need for do. Okay? I will come to that shortly, waiting we as a people need for do. So I don't tell you now about roads. I don't also tell you now about the water project. We rightfully so now Freetown will complain, and I don't give reasons why we go continue for complain, because when the Lily Guma was built for us, it was built for probably 50 to 80,000 people. And by then will not be even 10,000 to 15,000 inside Freetown. And Freetown has a population by some estimate of over 1.5 million. Imagine a city that was built for a few thousands. Now you talk about over 1 million people. I mean, think about this. These are the things that we suppose for the ask yourself questions other than people just they tell we. We need for to take up the mantle of research for ourselves. Don't just be led, don't just be told, and then you form an opinion right there by what you are being told, instead of doing a primary research. I'll come to that shortly. So in terms of water anyway, part of the accomplishment under the Ernest by Koroma APC government, you get Kailang. And they talk about serious, clean, pipe-borne water projects. Whether in a hand pump, that's a pipe. I mean, they call them pipe. Not only when you turn a faucet and you open. So whether you pump them, that is it. We see even in modern countries, the faucets they are different from the traditional one they always be first now for turn around. Now we see all kinds of design when I ask you twist or you press. That is it. So Kailang, Bo, Mile 91. Kenema, Makeni, Lunge, Lunsa, Pokemon, Poto, and Kabbalah. I repeat, the water project increased us all over the country as well. In just the particular side, it is all over the country, south, southeast, north, north, apart from the Atlantic Ocean. So this water project, then they all over the place. So say you go able to find a Lonsa, you go see on a Makeni, you go see water project na Lunge, you go see on a Potloko, you go see on a Kabbalah, Pokemon, Man 91, Bo, and Kailaon. These are just facts. This is what they call real development. If you read the office of the president, the former president released a statement which was a very heavy and a pushback against things that have been attributed to him. And the way I remember I pulled a tester out, and of course, anything when you do, people then will call you with different take. So let me go to energy. Inside energy, we're responsible largely for driving foreign direct investment into the country. And the reason why I say so, because any country will not get energy. I know they say the other aspects are not important, but imagine if you don't get energy, how possible they bring in factory for can operate in your country? How? How farm will possibly bring factory for can operate in your country? Farm them once more on a good evening. This now the then and now. Now the platform tonight is your host and presenter, Prince Emil Koroma. Tonight, the 11th of October, 2020, we come to now with a solid subject matter addressing issues of our time. And the former president, we asked the question, do you think he's the patriot or of the lane? We'll do a talk show quite soon, and it will be a calling show, and all of this will be factored in. But it's in the way they talk now are just facts. We're not being political. They are just facts. If you think you can challenge this, you better come out now and challenge them. I mean, ask questions so we can respond to that. But you cannot ask because we they talk about paper, we they talk about research, and when they talk about secondary research, we're talking about primary research. We they talk about government documentation, where lead on our government ministries, where you yourself can get access to. We they talk about Freedom of Information Act, where you get a right for make a request so that certain things can be revealed to you. Are we doing that? Or are we just on media platforms, just yapping, as Englishman would say? This is serious, family. So I mean, just to talk about energy. So energy, where we get this big issue about where if we not get them, investor no will come if you want bring factory or whatever and want bring come. It need energy. This is one side. Also, Dr. Kane Yunkelabi, they talk strongly, of course, now be the highlight of in career than the way they did with the UN and the area outside it be head, the department where it be head. Okay, sustainable energy. Hence, we hear this word over and over, sustainable. And that was rightfully said, that was rightfully so. Without that energy, definitely a country just show how backward they are, how uncivilized they are, and the rest of it. Imagine 21st century, you're in darkness. So not too long ago, while we recall, while we reflect, when Pakaba been in power, because beyond Pakaba, it be just worse. When Pakaba kind of power, we begin to see Lily. Okay? Electricity was being rationed. Energy was being rationed. So, person gets 30 minutes light na Lunge. Then from Lunge, after that 30 minutes, they then go switch over to Wotifunk. And then you hear people, oh, light don't can imagine the 21st century. And then you know almost what megawatts of electricity will be enjoyed there? Only something like 100. Can you imagine? Anyway, development, now continuity. And when ex-president Koroma took over from the late Tijan Kaba, Alhaji Tijan Kaba, may his soul rest in eternal peace. This became a physical and feasible thing where not too long people are beginning to enjoy the benefits. So as a consequence, everything just continue for grow exponentially. We see all things begin to multiply. So in terms of energy, you will find energy in Lunge. You get the Charlotte Hydro. You get Bankasoka, which became controversial, obviously, because they try for politicize them. Dr. Kandayan been deep inside the Bankasoka project, which I believe say have been in brainchild. But of course, it been dedicated to the country. And because it happened under the APC, under Ernest by Koroma, they make a claim of him. And anyway, where Dr. Kande be the champion that cause day. Now under the APC, now they can't end that program, the Chinese money even they inside. But that don't mean say Dr. Kande should not be patted on the back. And I salute him for that. Well done, Dr. Kande. Okay? So the other government for they do the same thing if they can't take unfinished project. But talking about energy, you go find on a Lunge, you go find on a Charlotte, you go find this Bankasoka project, you go find na Potloko, you know, you go find a Makali, you get Makali Hydro. You get the Bumbuna Hydro and you get Bumbuna Phase 2. Bumbuna Phase 2. You get Bo. You get Kenema. You get EDAX na Kono. On top of that, there were multiple street lights for towns and cities, solar street lights for town and city. So family, I hope we get the gist of this story because like I say again, all of these are just reality. If you cannot acknowledge this, which means that you don't love your country, you just want to let it remain backward. If you can't point a finger of achievement to a man, we help for do that, but all you want to talk about now the vices of the man. When you come to state matter, remember Usa we begin. I talk about vices and virtues. We all get virtues. I mean vices. But the virtues don't really matter on a state level. Do you think I really care about the vices of this man? Or even if I care, do you think I want to make them really public? Do you think I really care about the vices of we current president, His Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Malabio? You think say I want to talk about in vices other than talk about in virtues as a leader in a government? So now only small minds then can go into that. One talk about vices. Oh, the man gets 6 girlfriends yonder. Oh, the kitchen being one mango tick yonder. Seriously? Really? This is shameful. We get for really up with game. We get serious things then for talk about. Yes, Mr. Pierce, he did well. I absolutely agree. This is why I'm bold enough and brazen enough for Sidong platform, who side thousands of people get for watch, and just say the fact because the fact will set me free. I feel so free, you know, you're saying what I'm saying. And all I know, all I'm saying are just facts. Was he corrupt? I'm sure he was. I'm sure he will have taken things, you know, yeah, that he's not supposed to take. But on public platform, we see him, he conduct himself as a leader. Not every decision a leader make go be popular. You cannot satisfy the entire nation. But the yardstick where they can use, now make the polls the way they can conduct, now foresee the numbers. Are the numbers greater for, or are they against more? That's the judgment, because you can't get everybody for their own side. If you weigh the way down on policies, if you want to implement them, it might not be popular at all, but for the greater good. That's why I mentioned from the beginning of this program, that great philosopher, that Scottish philosopher of the 18th century called Adam Smith, the man known to be the father of modern economics. Okay? Virtues of prudence, that's what you want to talk about. Justice and benevolence. So you see, when you talk about in then 3 categories, then you understand exactly where I'm coming from. The vices of a man shows how immoral they are, how wicked they can be. And now they talk about their personal characteristics, criminal intent. Did he have these? Except what people are saying. But if you go and speak to the family, then will tell you exactly, oh, he was a kind man, he was a good man, he was a good father, he was a good husband, and what have you. But that's relegated, you know, to the family on the state level. How many of them things we see, or Yeri, probably personally for some people, but it's not important. Now they could talk about the virtues. So you want to talk about the sacking of a vice president, but of course that was wrong. Did you know why he made that decision? Just like now that they try for question him on executive decisions as accorded him by the Constitution. Now you want to ask him how he arrived at that when the Constitution bequeathed that right to him, say by virtue of the powers vested in you, you can do such. And not say you can corrupt, because of course they're not corruption. You have to answer questions. But on decisions taken and made pertaining to state, the affairs of the state, there is a full stop. So people, they kind of confuse this with virtues. the man in personal. But so even when you go to the personal, a wife will tell you, certainly if you come see a Koroma now, it will tell you, say, a man have been good man. And you know me say be perfect. We get for set the distinction. Doesn't mean that he was perfect. Certainly so, and not mean so. So back to the man in development then, and not stop the family. Remember Wataki not so. Do we remember Wataki, the expansion of the the Queen Elizabeth Key? That was a major project because what did they do? It expand your facility for taking more ships, for employing more people because there is more space to be manned. It will look more likely. No, absolutely. But certainly for accommodate more ships, probably bigger ones, not only more, but bigger ones, we will bring more goods into your country, container ships, and etc. So that project, they remember Bolori, that was accomplished under this man. Okay? And you not seize them project and then go ahead with and go on with them when he left power. No, he did not. Fambudenbia will do one last sharing of this program. I encourage Fambu and let we share this program. Okay, a brother just put something there really quickly with you. They say fire bonding. We know all the people who just care about their selfishness, glorify people who destroyed our nation by building houses with swimming pools, and they cannot even. We know you all sympathetic folks. Okay, seem much more like a hint, but it look, very incoherent. This now called, like social media ranting. Yes, people that build houses. Let's just address this border for 1 minute. Yes, people that build houses. That's what the investigation is about, where they get something where they call unexplained wealth. So shall we relegate that to the commission we get for investigate unexplained wealth? Let us stop playing judge and jury, for we are just ordinary folks and observers and standby. If you cannot articulate issues, which I will come back again to, then don't just be throwing flames out there. I'm sure there are people who sympathize with these folks, and I've said, people that really sympathize with people who are being accused of alleged corruption right now, and people that will be so obviously look corrupt, engage in corrupt practices, deny Sierra Leoneans out of money that be supposed to go into public services and etc. Obviously, will have been people who benefited from those systems, from that system. If you benefit from the system, definitely you go and safeguard those measures. And the same thing that was applicable then is applicable now when you find people who are part of the structure, go defend the structure even when things are so obvious. The difference here is between me and you who do not benefit, and I say them publicly, the only way we go benefit is when the country benefits. We don't benefit personally. I don't have a politician that gives me money. I don't get paid for what I do. This is in public service, and I'm saying it publicly. So I feel so free for talking. When I talk on the record, on well-researched documents. So anyway, let's move on, here to something more relevant. I think I've given undue credence to that story. So like I say again, development-wise, this is exactly what happened, the expansion of Wataki Bolori, the Bolori projects, yeah? We have to bring more ship and boats then to the country, and hence more goods, and expand the country and show say that we are moving forward. On the issue of healthcare, family, this is important. On the issue of healthcare, remember there was free healthcare for pregnant women, not so? Free healthcare for pregnant women. It did not only stop there. Picking away they under 5, all picking away they under 5 years of age, we get access to free healthcare. It not stop there. Also, there might be the way they not speaking them. In other words, nursing moms also had access to free healthcare. So under 5 picking them with age, they under 5, woman then we pregnant, and then might be the way they nurse them picking them. All of them had access to free health care. Imagine that. These are the developers, like when you look in America, the argument is so big today, you get over 30, 40 million of Americans there don't have access to health care. What are the time for say health care now one of the biggest issues in any country. Now, he make Britain be actually stand out with the National Health Service, when and then they joke with. Although lately it don't come under political hammer, and there's much been talked about it, because as we be Sabiam, it will never be known as the same again, because it's changing. It's going private bit by bit. But the bottom line is how important healthcare can be. So in Sierra Leone, under the All People's Congress government, there was free healthcare for pregnant women, children under 5 years of age, and then I the way they not picking them. On top of that, you get over 1,200 peripheral units. That's PHUs, for example, because not everybody know the peripheral units. So most of we, even myself at one point, I mean, just know the PHUs. And not forget with the modern Chinese clinic, Najue. Now, Famulem, these are the accomplishments that we talk about. So you see, we talk about on a developmental level. Now, if you get problem with this, then you need your head to be checked. If you cannot acknowledge this, which means that you are not a patriot. So in as much as you may not like the man, because I don't even want to use the word hate, because we see many things the way they happen, we are able to distinguish between in service to the nation and in private life. We don't see this man on tape where he frown on those the way they thief Ebola money. Publicly, we don't see that tape there. I've been on one una. Now he's the president, so yes, he takes responsibility. But the man not a magic man. He cannot be in all places at all times. So therefore, the responsibility becomes ours. Now we they do so now, although they up the game, that at some point when you see something, say, call the relevant authority. If I know a corrupt person now, I go pick up the phone of Mr. Ben Francis Kaifala and call him and tell him, "Bro, you worth, yeah, this story worth looking at. But here is what I've got." Then he can make the decision now, because I'm the boss, for decide whether indeed the story is worth looking at. This now is responsibility. But for shy away from those responsibilities, not acknowledge, waiting people and they do, let's say, like, for example, the current president in biggest move yet, in flagship program, is the education, free education. Now, we don't come on a power. Of course, not everything is working right. We don't come on a power. In order for go with this free education, but it don't initiate them. So another leadership will come and take them from their study, waiting fail, and waiting not they fail, or how for take and go forward. But forever and ever, that acknowledgement will go to this president that once upon a time, now in refine, change this educational problem moving in the country. And then we know they do things out of malice, simply because we no one give credence to somebody. When we come, we manage to change something. That would be so wrong. Okay? Now I don't talk about any development in under the All People's Congress. Okay? I want to talk more of like generalities, so that this, in fact, I speak directly. I've been promised I will speak directly to we, because I need to end this program in about 10-15 minutes time. Family, this is serious. We country, they in a dire strait, whichever way you see them. People are pointing fingers to Ernest Koroma as if now they instigate them thing, and they, even though we not get proof. We can suppose, you know, but if we see down keenly, we look based on waiting. I don't say, family, don't you think that people then go be, thankful? Some will be even grateful, because grateful is so strong. But definitely there will be people who will be exceptionally grateful and thankful to Ernest Koroma. Don't you think so? And the nature of politics, when people are grateful and thankful, and if you understand the presidency, you go see, say, you get people and we can even die for them. Even though you not ask them to. Don't you understand that when something is said against the former president, you get people that we will definitely come to in defense. Do we understand this? These are just natural things in the presidency. And in kind presidency, where we lead, almost like a father-like figure, a towering figure with this gray hair, with this black bespectacle. And on top of that, you get tangible things then we can point to. And if things are not going right now, it just a help for make this man, for stand out. So even if you mean they consider him for be a devil at the time, now, because of the way how things they play out, he's becoming, more angelic. I hate for use messianic terms, because that's dangerous. And when I say I don't mean that in that messianic way, in that religiosity, no. I mean, in a hyperbole way, if you like. Now, here is the thing, family. When we argument for be on the basis of teaching. We must be able for learn something. So if you teach or you argue or we are having an argument back and forth, we for able for listen to each other and take the sense out of the nonsense. Because most times there are keywords that they look for in this life generally. Okay, so we can get the arguments and the back and forth. All of which they can say, of course, all which I don't say very important, but all of which they can say much more important because it speaks to the characters of we, the people. We therefore try to transform ourselves by we arguments. I repeat, we therefore try for transform. We therefore by we argument the way we can get. What I mean by this is when we argue, we just not for the argue out of argument's sake. Now, Imeka say we argument must be able to teach something to either of us that are having these arguments. We should be able for substantiate and reference. We argument them. We for able for substantiate and reference. We argument them. Not just come on a baseless argument, not just come on an argument, based on hearsay and they say. That's no argument at all. In fact, you're just helping to mess up, the arguments that's been had, or being had rather. That's what you will be doing because you come to a gunfight with a knife. So you're not danger to yourself. You don't pose much danger to the people that will get the gun, but imagine a gunfight, so you get spectator them, but you're much more danger to the spectator them. So in this sense of the argument, if you haven't done your research, if you cannot substantiate, if you cannot reference, if you cannot cite, then your argument get no substance at all. I repeat, no substance at all. And in social media, we know that there are many of us as such. We learn nothing from these, nothing at all. There should be relevance when we argument. When we argue, the argument forget relevance. We must agree not for based with arguments per religion. We not for based with argument per tribe. Arguments are the advice today for be based on the contents. It for be based on the relevance. When the arguments get quality, they excite people and we get quality. So now I make enough for based on one, a lily issue will not get relevance. The content forget value. It forget quality. And once you get that, it excite we. Let waiting the excite we not come up from them thief politician and then roguish politician then. I repeat, waiting for the excite we politics, not to waiting they come up from them rogue politician then. And the reason why I say so is because I say I'm from the beginning again that we are being used. It's not new. It's not only consigned or confined to the region who say most of the listenership now come up from, which is Africa, Sierra Leone for that matter. But it's worldwide. Donald Trump, what did they do? They mislead in fan base them. He knows nothing about management. He cannot manage the presidency. He took a chance and he won. He won and we've seen the mess. So we can make a reasonable, deductive and adducive reasoning and arrive at some conclusion. If you cannot do all of this, then you therefore know your place. Again, we all get we vices them, family. We all. Then a motorman in fragility, Danny, if you like. In weakness, we weakness. Bad vices. So Monday na womi lek. So Monday na tabaka na elek. So Monday na business na elek. So man na snuff. So man na waiting safe. Anything we sort of in many respects immoral and bad. So we all get one or two or more vices, every one of us. So on a local level, maybe we can pick at each other on that basis day. But on the level of the presidency, Madabio, you know, and I know they put the current president in in disrepute, but it involve something other than, you know, yeah, the level of the presidency. Now, we want to talk about, instead of we talk about the good way they do. That's exactly my point where they try for make. Instead of talk about the good way they do, instead of talk about policies where they impact with life, where they influence with lives, we are not doing that. We want to talk about the pettiness. That's how the politics don't come down to. We want to talk about the pettiness. Oh, you know, say now back the man be wear. Oh, you know, say the man be wear crepe. You don't know why he wear them. You know. Oh, you know, say the man changed the glasses frame, and you want to make issues out of that. Really, if you've got nothing to say, just shut up and put up, please. So we want to talk about real issues. This is within this context that I speak of Dr. Ernest by Koroma, the former president of the Republic. If I support President Koroma or President Madabio, ex-President Koroma, let me be exact, and current President Bio, I'm not going to support them because of those vices. I don't even care about them when it comes to the presidency. I might, maybe in my private moments, maybe me and my family or close friend might talk about that. But for Brian come on a national platform, no, I don't and I won't. If it affect the well-being of the nation, the running, the smooth transition of governmental policies, how things can infect and impact and implement, and have an impact on the lives of we people, then definitely that is of concern to me once a day on that high level. And it should concern every one of us. So I wouldn't support them because of their vices. I don't even care. Let me make this known. And like I say, when I say I don't care, I mean on that level, because like privately, maybe a little gossip with friends, close friends and family. Yeah. Remember, these are private conversations. Okay? For let the nation endure, we therefore understand a sense of communalism, a sense of togetherness. We therefore understand a sense of not just they take the bait from roguish politicians and way the business now for try for divide we, because in with division, that's how they thrive. It happened then, it's happening now, and it will happen until we rise up and understand, say, this should not be happening, that this should not happen anymore, that if I take a decision or make a decision, it's going to be based on an informed choice. I have listened, I have heard, I have investigated, I have researched, and this is my conclusion. Science, almost exact in this nature of politics, because I might make the wrong choice now, but it's going to be hard if you are researching, my friend. Because soon election will be upon us. You will see all kind of candidates kiss no. Some of the people like saying inside, then just pull them come inside plastic, begin tell me about the same old problems they will not experience, but they present themselves to us as if they are the new messiahs, they are the new saviors, and they understand this problem when they not solved 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and they've been in this same politics. But they can't rehash, resell until and we are going to buy it. Some of us are going to take it on, hook, line, and sinker. And then 1 year later, 2 years later, we begin to feel sick about decision. Do you know that you can change that? Yes, you can. All you need for doing that for try for understand you can. All they want to get for can talk. They're not just for them from space. They've been with us. We have to understand them. We have to dig deep. That's what we need to do, so we can understand people and we apparently they can represent we. This is serious fumbling. Now we come towards the end of the program, I promise. Yes, we are almost towards the end of the program. Please share this video. Acknowledge few people in the chat room. Okay, and I see some conversations being going on. And are there conversations there? Now I can let for encourage. We need to be proactive. We don't have to be reactive. We can if we want to, but proactive in this sense is a good virtue. We need to have those conversations, regardless of how inconvenient those conversations will be. So when the chat room people and the engaged day, we should not shy away from these conversations. Let me see how they get called. Maybe somebody wants to speak. Hello? Yeah, I'm live. I'm live now. You've called the wrong time, bro. Yeah, later. Bye-bye. Okay, this was just a family calling from Sierra Leone. Okay, so where was I? Okay, these conversations we need to have them, regardless of how uncomfortable they may be. Remember, we don't have to agree from the beginning. We can be diametrically opposed, but that not mean say we for hate, but we for also learn for listening, because in listening, and it's a two-way thing, we can learn something and learn for find a common ground. There will be a middle ground. And sometimes this is what I said again from the beginning. There comes the compromise in nature, because the greater is more, of course, than the lesser. What do I mean by this? Waiting we suppose for benefit from this argument is far greater than waiting we supposed for lose from the argument. So why not agree, find a common ground, and then move on? I think this is a good attribute again as well. Family, as we come to the end of this program, I really want for let we take this on. I really want for let we take this on. I say I know they support either presidents, former and now, because of their vices. I go rather go with their virtues. I go rather go with their policies. What are they doing, here for me and the country, for we and the country, for every one of us? How is it of benefit to us? How is it impacting livelihood of the people? These are the kind of things that I want to look at. If the transition not been peaceful, then we get for fend away, because you see, there is this famous parable we say, married we get for sweet. Yeah, married we get for sweet. Now from the Bachelor's Eve, and I shall say we all do agree with that, because it make plenty of sense. Married we get for sweet. Now from the Bachelor's Eve. I just they watch me video and look like me video frozen, but I'm sure people are getting me. Let me just call Mr. Kamara Mohammed. Una they see the video, or is it frozen? Let me know quickly so I can do something, because I'm about to land. If una they receive the video look frozen, please let me know so that we can do something about it. I'm about to land, and we'll find for let we not get we landing right. We really need for get we landing right. So let us see whether, yes, it's telling me now that the page is frozen and I need to wait. So definitely I am going to wait. I am definitely going to wait. Let me see whether I can do hotspot for end this program. Now bear with me, please. Let me do hotspot for end this program. Where is my hotspot? Hotspot. See, just when you need them, it kind of tend for disappear. And it's always there. So while we listen at the Ask Fambulem, before I do the hotspot, do you have a big wanna share? Let me share this video, yeah. Mobile data, yeah, and where's my hotspot? Okay, that's it. Let me share this video, do you Fambulem, yeah? Let me share around wide and far. Let other people then come watch this video themselves. Let them know exactly what's in the go on. So it's not only a one-sided thing. Now everybody's involved. Everybody is involved. Let me see whether this video go on freeze now. I just don't hotspot. I hope it on freezes so we can get the last 10 minutes. Mr. Musa Kamara say, the problem of the nation is bad political leadership. The ordinary Southerners, Easterners, Westerners, and Northerners are decent people. Politicians divide them. I absolutely agree with you, brother. I absolutely agree with you, brother. And this is exactly what I try for see. So it's not about the people, but the advice also goes to the people that we need for be careful with the same politician there, because in respect, what's in the theory is something older than what the reality is. Honestly, it's older than what the reality is. The reality is different. Remember, the era of Donald Trump don't initiate something we call alternative facts. The facts are there, but here we are, we get alternative facts. What are alternative facts? That's facts away from the real facts. That's all what it means. So in this era of Trump, definitely here we are. We get alternative facts. So Famulem, like I say, we're about to end the program. I mean, just the read few things them in the chat room. And the video I noticed we broadcast the freeze. It keeps freezing. It definitely keeps freezing, and this is really bad, but I think I get for ender now. Okay, let me try ender anyway. Let me just try and ender. Let me do one last thing and see whether I go able for end in this way. Let me do one last thing. Let me see whether I go able for end this way. Okay, it's just about 105 people, and probably will have been multiplying towards the end. So I shall say they record in a cloud. So I mean, they say let's try for keep on peaceful. Let politicians them when they accept hook, line, and sinker. Let's question more. The world they focus on we, and when the world they focus on we get for left for try for deceive others, because the one day when they look with them, they see outrightly exactly what they go on and how una the roguish politician them they try for mislead the people. Okay. The former president is a testament to hard work. Yeah, Angela, I don't freeze, eh? Oh, okay. Thank you very much. You freeze on me. Yeah. Okay, then. Thank you. I like that. Yeah, okay. Okay. You see, the goodness about the platform is you can get you guardian angel. So just got a call from a sister. So I'll go ahead anyway because I was a bit worried on my side. It's frozen. So the former president, Ernest by Koroma, is a testament of good work. I repeat, the former president is a testament to hard work. And he had faith towards forming a perfect union. I will repeat this one more time because I will repeat it for effect. And I know say, Baku people are not go like this, but even when you know like and I say, in your quiet moment, reflect on waiting I say, and contextually waiting I mean, who side they come up from. Testament to hard work, now I talk about earlier on, and the accomplishments them of in government. Yes, there was corruption. Yes, he could have done far more than, but what else are you going to compare it to? You can only make that comparison to what you have, what is tangible now, what is feasible, what is physical, what you can touch, feel, see, and hold and smell. This is where I'm coming from. So he's a testament of that hard work. You can't take that away from him. It's just a fact. Also, a faith towards a perfect union. Why do I say this? Because inside the present miasma where we get, we hear people and they say, well, he could have done this here, he did not. And I advise those of you who say that he could have. It's not that you're not right when you say so, but did you have time for reflection, reflecting on the time? Because it's a building block. If the time wasn't right for letting you take action, and action that you will have taken will have thrown the state into more confusion, because after all, the peace was being consolidated. Take into account why some people then were not jailed after the war. Some people were not jailed in the country, even though we get jail facilities. Take into account that from the beginning, they were jailed. Some were jailed in the country, but later were moved to safe location. Because again, the country, the nature of the country being fragile. So by level. So those that were taken out, now because they've been powerful enough that anything could have happened which would have compromised the security of the state. So the best action to have been taken then was for them to take them out. Now the executive order been presented the president with that in consultation with his team. And they talk about the late Jankaba. But yet he acted within that respect and do what he feels to be right for the nation. Why he go there at that time where he not take full security of the state and then go decide for jail people and we still get armed man and gunmen all over the country? Which one is more certain? Which action is more certain for them to take? The example just come back to Ernest. Yes, he could have done what he's been asked that he could have done, but didn't. We don't know, except one day he will be speaking. And we did in talk with his team. Hopefully, Sister Esther, if you're listening, if all the connections to the president, the ex-president are listening, hopefully go grant this platform, if not only this platform, but social media, because he need for speak to social media because that's where things are happening now. And the vast majority of the nation, this is where they are, social media. So when you want to speak now, for pick the relevant platform and speak, and people then will like for your reformer. So yes, we they ask, we they in talks. Hopefully this might help. If not this one, another platform. But such was the situation at the time. But we also get for members saying now he empower the Anti-Corruption Commission now under in government. Or are we now short-memoried? Or we cannot give any accomplishment to the then? We want to make like say the then, here was before God beginning creation, there was nothing, the land was blank. We can't be serious. We argument formula must always be based on relevance. Always be based on relevance. The former president is a testament to hard work, and in faith towards a perfect union was unquestionable. And la argue na this back. Why I say so? Because these are the measurements of that faith towards a perfect union. When he didn't power up to the time when they left government, there was no political prisoner. Nobody was held by virtue of their conscience, their political conscience. Say, I don't agree with you, although we are now trying to paint him as that demon, as that wicked leader, that uncharismatic leader, that immoral leader. Yet when you look at the facts in front of us, it seems to be the opposite. Because for let you classify him as such, he would have jailed people because of their political conscience. He would have executed people. He would have sent people into restless areas, restive areas. But the evidence points the other way. Yes, there were things, here that are questionable to this day, like the sacking of the vice president. I can tell you that will hunt him to engrave, because the constitution was manipulated, people were coerced, and the rest of it. And the former vice president was sacked unconstitutionally, and that the president will never be forgiven for that. And I mean, but it will go to engrave with that. That was completely wrong, regardless of how they try to explain them, because we now know part of this, which didn't really happen. Some Sumada don't speak, people from the inside don't speak, so we can form a reasonable thing, and the documents are there. But when you get the presidency, the choices the way you make might not be popular. Everybody not get for agree with you, but you get for make them choices then they in the interest of the nation. So the qualifying thing about those choices, those decisions that you make, how did they impact the nation? How did they impact the people, the lives of the people? Because that's your first commandment as the leader, the fountain of honor, to look after your people, the well-being and security of the state which comprise of the people. How you look after them? Are your people okay? Are they satisfied? Are they dissatisfied? What is the level of dissatisfaction? What is the level of satisfaction? These are the measurements. As we speak so today, some people one day they not take a document for read. From whose side they go get a formative opinion about somebody, but because Yande tell them, Sampa come and say, you know say, Santigi Tokiana, Francis say, nine so, nine done so. And then get the audacity and the gall and the balls for argue with people away 24/7. They do research material, not secondary, but primary. But we never say we should not have a talk. Or go do them, because if we do them, we arguments then will be of so much relevance, so much substance that we will be appreciated. We will be appreciated. When I hear person and they talk about Ernest, all of the hear about 9 vices. On 99% na devices, now make a decide for talk about vices and virtues. Whether the man a patriot or a villain. That's all I hear about in vices. And Sierra Leoneans will therefore think hard and think, when I invite this now, we want to talk about this time, that if you get a dozen women then, that a father, X number of children, here and there. That's gossip talk. That's bush radio. That's local talk. That's small mind talk. Then we talk something of eminence, of relevance, of value to country and countrymen. Let me aspire, forgive with people them a clear political and historic and scientific facts where we can judge, where we can measure, and not always get for be like that, but where the measurement bar go to tip towards the possibles, the realities, the facts, because it's politics. It's not an exact science, but some things that the way we can deal with and arrive, like I say, if somebody one can buy me vote from me, I go get for question that person there. And not only waiting in the tell me they are taken at face value. No, that would be a fundamental and grievous mistake. So you get the opportunity for go find out about such person. You should. It's your responsibility, civic responsibility. So you have to. When we in the media act, they admonish we for talk diligently, for talk righteously. Yes, other people can get inside and clearly and then lean towards their side, and there's nothing wrong with that because that's your side that you are promoting. But when you take a center stage and want to talk to the people, you will be able to tailor your argument to you people them so that they understand the nature, the state of affairs, where we're from, where we are, and where we are heading, who are our leaders and who they are. We should be able to tell people with people in that. We don't need, for fool with people and trick them any more than the politicians are doing, because that's what they do left, right, and center, day and night. If we excite with people, we for excite them with real news. With real news. That a factory will be built. That the deal is complete. The transaction is over. The money is in the bank. We've got a date on when it will start. And then they talk about 419, and they talk about reality. So we people, these are news that will excite our people. Just like the Mamama project, it was a deal that was negotiated over several years, deal done and dusted, money laid on a bank, and only for it to be executed. But the president, the current president, in his wisdom, he say, well, I go scrap him. Not even scrap, because I can assure you say that deal is done. Probably one day the files will be dusted and will be rewritten in a different sense, way, or form. But why to this day, on the basis of corruption, it puzzles me, to be honest, because accusing the former of corrupt and the project has been very corrupt, but I mean they can't take them over and for the benefit of the nation, because it's not like it's going into the pocket of others. It's a standard. This thing get for team up, and we get for Siam. So waiting at the problem now, where now they can't run the affairs of this particular thing who they talk about. Waiting at the problem. Now they can't decide how the money will be dispensed. Yes, it may be on paper, or we can renegotiate them or redo. I mean, the technical people are going to leave that, but I'm just puzzled as to why. Because again, that will have helped our people so much. Let's be honest. If we not help with people so much and help this government so much at the time, because they will have hit the ground running because there was something to do. But instead, it turned out to be something else. It really turned out to be something else. And one day, they will probably tell us why, waiting at the reason behind this. Fumble them. But they say, let me not waste with people and time anymore than the politicians continue for waste with people and time. You no need for convince yourself that you are special. Let other people then do. You no need for convince yourself that you are special. Make other people then do. Because when you try for do so yourself, you are a fool. You're there on an ego trip. I know they say in with private time or with family, we can't do that. I wonder we think about the context in which I'm speaking. In other words, Ernest Koroma no need for try for convince people that he's extra, he's special, and this now you do. It's written forever and ever. So let others do, just like I'm doing tonight. And another do out of self-praise. I don't self-praise. I don't benefit anything special from the government of Ernest by Koroma other than the collective. That when I go home, I see an improved airport. And the airport where we say we can't do a new airport where we'll provide a hub for West Africa, like how we can go struggle na Morocco and other places for we connection flight. This will have happened home. Imagine this for a minute. This massive complex with massive employment facilities, here in the country. It's yours. It's based there. Now the country will say you come out. For once, you get something else for talk about after a toll gate, which some people they generate income from. But at some point, it was like, oh, waste of money. But the road is there, and the site looks so foreign. In fact, tomorrow they put one of them picture and they up on my Facebook page. Because I went there, I visited there, I was impressed. Let me say this. And this line is called development. Tangible, physical, and profitable. Profitable over the period of time. And they say, let us not fool with people any more than we can. Let possibly not they sing your own praise them in this sense. Let others do, because if you sing your own praise, certainly you're there on an ego trip. Complete ego trip. That's what you're on. And they admonish family, let we do research. I repeat, let we do research, because the term don't come when we for do research so that we are self-informed. That self-information there is a weapon, and that weapon there is better than any other weapon fashioned against us. Because when they come with a lie, that weapon they will come with lie weapon, they bounce back off us. Because why? We are informed. We are solid. We don't do with background information. We don't do with primary research from primary sources. So we are well equipped. It's a weapon of mass destruction, political destruction, thievery. We are prepared. This is not the way I will go able for change with nation from native manner, from one to the other. Most people get an opinion of EBK. Absolutely. Why shouldn't people? It's the same for JMB. But when you ask most of them how they get the opinion or how they form the opinion of these people, these two very important men, one former, one current president, they will tell you, say, Aisha says so. If anybody named Aisha, not mean any disrespect. Okay? They will say Bengali says so. They will say Mohammed says so. Superman says so. That's what they say. And family, let me think for one moment. So how relevant would that opinion they be? And we get people that waking one hide behind this word opinion. Do you know say opinion are one of the most used and abused word? Do you know that? Just pull the AB come up before the USED. You get one of the most abused word na in our opinion, but it's one of the most used. And people like one hide behind them. Family, I think I don't say this before I say it again. Yes, you're entitled to your opinion. But when that opinion they come at the general public, not just saying I'm your opinion and then you back off, then that's small mind. Then that means you don't even get an argument. Your opinion should be equally relevant because you're able to cite something to that opinion the way you just offer. When you prefer an opinion, it comes from a well-founded opinion. Now you prefer. Not your own opinion, because you're cornered and then you back off. So most people, now so then they form their opinion about these two. Already they are in social media. I don't want to put percentage on them because I haven't done any feasibility. But I can say for sure that the vast majority is based on hearsay. They say we quickly get influence about other people. Somebody might be of influence, like I speak now, so, but mostly it will come up from well-sourced primary research. That's where it's coming from. But let's say it wasn't coming from there, but you kind of convincing other people, just put down, can't go to the next as you more convincing to others. That's simply wrong. And we're taking the country over a cliff. Do your primary research of them people there before you form an opinion. Don't wait to be told by others. Or when you're told by others, listen, but go and go find out. Go confirm them. Unfortunately, if you don't do, then it's obvious that your argument is not get no bearing, I can give you summaries. Or you can give me summary. I can read the summary. But that summary what they read now because I can ask questions, regardless of how difficult those questions are for ask. I do ask them. And I don't care what you may think because I can give you the citation as to why they ask them question and the okay. But Fambulem, this is not the last word. We have to start thinking for ourselves. Okay? Fambulem, I repeat. We have to start thinking for ourselves. If we not think for ourselves, we allow others and they think for we. When I say think for we, now for let them tell you something that we self total and can go. That is certainly not thinking for ourselves. But if we think for ourselves, we go question more. And on this note, family, I want to say thank you to Una all we watch this evening. Una let me share this thing wide and far so we people them. Let we people and get a gist of her. So we friendly with them, but what for you as well. I'm not saying you know what I say, but obviously you need to sit down and consider the facts. What you are talk, not out of emotion, it's out of fact. Probably the way you see I express them, you think my emotion, but no. It's just fact. So on this basis, I want left now with this song, Touch Not My Anointing. Who Jah has blessed, no one will